So pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, this meeting will be conducted in person and via remote means in accordance with applicable law. This means that members of the public body, as well as members of the public, may access this meeting in person or via virtual means. In-person attendance will be at Memorial Hall inside Town Hall at 34 West Main Street, and it is possible that all members of the public body may attend remotely with in-person attendance consisting of members of the public. This meeting may be accessed remotely via the Zoom link in the posted agenda. When required by law or allowed by the chair, persons wishing to provide public comment or otherwise participate in the meeting may do so by in-person attendance or by accessing the meeting remotely, as previously noted. Additionally, the meeting will be broadcast live in real time via Verizon Channel 28 and Charter Channel 192, or via Westborough TV's online platforms at westboroughTV.org and youtube.com/WestboroughTV. This meeting will be recorded and live streamed by Westborough TV. All right. With that said, I do believe we probably have some public comment this evening.
Good evening. My name is Wilfred Savoy. I live at 41 Chestnut Street. I wanted to give the committee a heads up on two articles that I intend to file for the upcoming special town meeting, and I'll share that with you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If you want, I can send you a PDF file, Jane, to share with the others.
Yep.
Okay. These two articles, the first article quickly is the one that has my name at the top, and it's an act authorizing the establishment of a local initiative petition procedure. Both of these warrant articles would establish a procedure in the town charter. The first one is, as I said, is referred to as a local initiative petition. It's a process where the voters can vote on an issue or an item that is important to them that would affect the town. And there are examples at the state level and the local level. We just went through the MCAS petition at the state level. And at the local level, this may be a local petition where voters would limit the amount of property taxes able to garnered by the town. So that's one procedure. The other procedure on the opposite side is a referendum on town meeting votes. This would enable the voters to question either issues or items that have been voted on at town meeting within a certain time period. I've tried to look at the language here and look at the language that was established in the town charter many years ago, 1987, on a recall item for selectmen. And that language is in the charter now, and I try to emulate a lot of that process in these two procedural votes. So it's both of these procedures are fundamental rights of voters and of a democracy, and I just wanted to give you a heads up. Hopefully you'll take a look at them and maybe support them as we get closer to town meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so, given that, it's our only public comment, approval of minutes.
Yep.
With the July 14th minutes that we circulated. Are there any questions or edits?
I had no changes.
I see Saroj has joined us.
Yeah, hey everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
I move we approve the minutes of July 14th as drafted.
I'll second that.
Bradley, second.
We have to do roll call.
We do have to do roll call. So I think Andrew's probably,
Andrew
yeah,
will be
Andrew's
first.
first.
Yeah. I apologize because we can't see who's in the room, but I don't mind starting. Bradley, yes.
Brandt, yes.
Clap, yes.
Saroja would be next.
Georgia, yes. Hansoga, yes, I should say.
Yeah, Leslie, yes.
O'Day, yes.
We'll get the alphabet figured out soon enough.
Yeah, it keeps a little shifted tonight because we're missing a couple.
All right. All right, so then that leaves us with the liaison assignments. So just to sort of preface that, the reason I sort of filled out the spreadsheet and sent it around is because we've had enough meetings where we all said, well, I don't know, what do you want to do? Right, so the goal is not to volunteer anyone for any specific assignments, but to give us a sort of starting place rather than a whole bunch of blank spots to fill in. I used AI to create all of it because I prefer to have AI do any work for me as possible. So, but it is sort of set so that if we had one that nobody has more than one of the like higher level of responsibility, nobody has more than one of the medium, and then it's sort of evenly distributed in those lower responsibility ones in theory. The one exception being Prashant has both of the DPWs that we said were both the heavy amount of work, but they're sort of hard to uncouple. I did
Excuse me,
leave.
Jane,
Yeah.
Beth just emailed again. She can't access the Zoom meeting.
Maybe
I'll
send,
send the electronic link.
Thanks,
maybe
Josh.
send it
Thank
a
you.
link.
I just did that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, or I was able to log in using the meeting ID. Yeah, too. And the password.
How's the works?
Yeah, so that was my starting place. I did, for anyone who was a current liaison that had expressed an interest in continuing with their assignment, I left them on it. That said, any of them are sort of up for discussion or debate. I don't know. I did not want to venture how passionate different people might be about different things that they had expressed an interest in, so I just sort of left people where they were and filled in the rest. So that's my little spiel in terms of setting the stage. We have a lot of people gone, which I think makes this conversation difficult. Oh, and to note, Adam is not assigned anything. That is because Adam intends to step down as soon as John is able to find a replacement. So we'll do a little bit of shifting again once somebody else is assigned. But as we sort of head into budget conversations, I thought it was important that we have this conversation now anyway.
Jane, I just had a question on the municipal building committee. There's no liaison for that. What's the reasoning behind that?
Because I am unclear on the appointing authority there. So we had a member of this committee who was on the municipal building committee, but I'm not sure that he's not still serving on that committee because it's not a typical liaison assignment.
Yeah, so we could have a liaison that's not a voting member of the municipal building committee still. It depends how the committee is set up, whether there's actually an AFC position on it or not.
Oh, okay.
Because probably the municipal building committee, I'm guessing, is appointed by the select board or the town manager, I'm
okay.
not sure which. For instance, the library building committee was voted to be the liaison, but to be actually on the committee, the library trustees voted to put me on the library building committee because there's no official, I'm the unofficial, well,
Unofficial
I'm the AFC
liaison.
representative on it,
Okay.
but the appointing authority for that committee is the library trustees, not us. So, as Jane said, Rod Shafford was on the committee. He may still be, but when they start becoming active again, which at the very moment they're not, we
Right.
at least need, whether someone's on the committee or not, we will need somebody to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I figured that
Yeah.
they're not
Considering
currently
we're about to
active,
make
it's
some
a
more
little bit
shifts,
unclear. Right.
we could let the dust settle
Yep.
and figure it out. And it's
That's why that
should
one
not be
is.
related to this town meeting anyway,
Right.
because they weren't going ahead with at this point, any further changes yet, I
Right.
think.
Well, and there's nothing in sort of the initial draft, and I feel like if there were
Right.
changes at the community center, there certainly would be,
Right.
certainly nothing's
There'd be a
happening in
placeholder.
fall, there'd be a placeholder at least, yeah.
And they didn't discuss it, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Um,
something, yeah, where it says high, it depends on what they're doing.
Mhm.
'Cause it can
I
get-
mean, I feel like it probably is always high if there's anything. It's
Yeah.
either not
All or
happening
nothing.
or
Yeah.
high volume. I think
Right.
it's, so.
Yeah, so I could see that you balanced, you tried to balance it, so do you want feedback, like,
I want people to, so I don't want to be in the business of assigning people responsibilities. I would
Yeah.
love people's feedback, and if there are people, I know like Saroja in particular had committees that she had an interest in, that there were already liaisons, right? So I thought it's worth having a conversation, and see if there was somebody who had one of those committees and had different interests, or would be happy to give up whatever that committee was. I felt like that was a collaborative conversation worth having,
okay.
so.
All right, and maybe we could just go around the room and people could say whether they were interested in other things, or, I mean, try to get the
Do you hate all of your
conversation.
assignments, Walter?
No, I don't.
That seemed really convincing.
No, I don't hate assignments. The one I was really interested in continuing on is the building committee, because I've invested a number of years in that, and I'm still there. And I wanted one more sort of, more medium or something, and the Affordable Housing Trust is, as you can see from even the draft warrant, gonna keep, a fair amount to, keep tabs on. And the others should be easy to do, so I'm okay with all that.
Carrie, did you have any
Sure.
concerns or perspective on any of the ones that?
Well, so I had expressed interest in the school committee, and it made sense to tie it in with the Assabet Valley.
So we typically pair those
Yeah.
two all the time, yeah.
So that made perfect sense to me, and then likewise with the Council on Aging and the Youth Commission. Kind of random was the animal control, and I wasn't sure about community preservation. That's a medium touch.
Yeah.
So that one I wasn't sure if that's just just
that's-
a lot or
It should be more. I was surprised there's no CPA article on this warrant, or I should
I was
probably
too.
say I'm disappointed there isn't one, because we should be starting to move forward on that.
that's what I thought would be
And I
happening
don't
too.
know why, but that was something we should explore with the town manager or something,
Yeah.
and find out why. I don't know how much the liaison will have to do, because I would think they'd be bringing just articles, and, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think that.
it might be a bit much if she's doing schools and all that other stuff.
I think it really,
But maybe we're gonna get a
Depends,
new
right?
member, so that we
Right.
have more people too, pretty soon.
Right, so I just, because when I saw the school committee meetings, it's bi-weekly.
Yeah.
it is.
And we already have one scheduled on the books already for September, kind of an introduction one.
Mhm.
So I know that's gonna be a huge time commitment. So
Yeah.
that was the only thing I was worried was, one high with some minimal, I'll call it, than just the medium one. So that would be my only question, or if someone felt more passionately about doing the community preservation. Jane, that would be it. The rest of it is absolutely fine.
Josh, what do you think about the ones I assigned to you? Are you excited? I think you got insurance. Are you excited about getting insurance?
They look fine to me for right now. I mean, as we move forward, I just want to make sure that I have enough time to commit to all these.
Yeah.
So I may be asking for a little help from others on the committee in the future.
So I actually didn't think through that, and I think that's a good point. So I assigned Josh police, which is a relatively high volume one. Candidly, I'm also asking Josh to help a lot with the chair stuff, because that was my concession. Like, I don't actually have time to do it, but so we might consider if there's a shift there. But police seems to be one that there typically is interest in too. So maybe if there's someone who has interest in picking, sorry, I don't mean to volunteer ones for you to hand off either, Josh, but that is.
No,
what
no, no,
I-
not at all. Like I said, I mean, I'm right now. We can see how it goes, and if it ends up being too much, I
Okay.
can bring it up at a following meeting, subsequent meeting.
Yeah, I mean, to a large extent, like right now, there's no real police thing on the warrant. So yeah, like you said, we can move these around as we like. And I think most people find almost all the ones that say minimal mean almost nothing.
Like
right?
animal control, unless something shows up on the warrant about dog licensing, you were gonna have no contact.
Okay. Well, I saw the note on the dogs and the chickens, so.
Yeah, when there's dogs
Yeah,
or chickens on the warrant, yeah.
Occasionally chickens.
Yeah, it came up last time, so I'm like, oh. Yeah, so I wasn't worried.
Did we lose
about
Beth again?
I don't think she ever joined, did she?
Oh, I don't know. I guess not.
Andrew, what do you think?
I love it, I love it, I love it.
He loves it.
All right,
I'm all in on what you gave, yeah. Thank you.
perfect.
Wow.
Apparently he likes recreation.
So I did give him that one because he does seem to be like on top of it when it
Yeah,
comes to
he is.
recreation, so.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And I have a couple with communication, and I'll be reaching out to Mark and Christy to see what those are for a little more detail. So,
Okay.
but I'll do that next Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I did that one for a year or so, and basically when they brought an article that was about it, wasn't a huge lift.
Yep.
You know, that's a good point, though. Do we as the liaison, once they are finalized, do we, a little protocol, just reach out to them, let them know we're their liaison in case something comes up?
Yeah, I mean, if we did you get the thing which describes what the role is? But mainly we're supposed to be a path of communication. So yeah, it would
We
be
should
good
just let
to
them
reach
know.
out to those people. Just let them know, hey,
I'm here
if
if
you
you
have
need me.
any questions with the finance committee or need help with
Okay.
anything, here's my contact and I'm your person. Yeah, I'm your contact.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I think that would be good protocol for new people.
Makes sense.
Yeah, especially if the group has something on the warrant, then it helps for us to be able to ask them questions we may have, or for them to give us additional color that may be valid or relevant in conversations in our meetings.
Good point.
All right, Saroja, I know you had an interest in a couple of the committees where people had expressed interest in continuing.
Yes. Like the school committee, the capital expenditures committee are both committees that I think I'd expressed interest in, helping support. And that led me to make some comments to Jane by email, that it might be helpful and useful to promote like a diversity of lenses and involvement in the respective committees by maybe having like a term cap on the liaison engagement, whether it be a year or, whatever our group decides, so that you can have fresh perspectives on these respective, on all the committees that we have liaisons on, and also to allow different folks in the group to participate in those committees rather than prioritizing as the initial parameter continuation on that committee. So those were my thoughts. I shared them with Jane, and because I think that when you have diversity of involvement, so that everybody that wants to gets an opportunity to participate in that group, you tend to bring out, you tend to make that particular engagement like just more robust and resilient, because you have the ability to include more perspectives and backgrounds, if that makes sense. And actually, and I'll pose this to you, Jane, is there, how does, I don't know what the process would be, but it sounds like there may not be term limits sounds like such a heavy-handed word, on the liaison engagement, but don't know if that has a history of being discussed. Maybe there is. So I'll just look to you for guidance on that, on how one goes about, thinking about that.
So there are not, and in my time on the committee, it hasn't really come up. I mean, there's some where if you look at, so Walter used the example of the library building committee, it certainly makes sense to have one person continue throughout the project for that continuity. The reality is we are just a liaison who is sharing information back and forth between committees rather than necessarily being a member of any of these other committees or groups. And so there is a large portion of it that I think the reality is comes back to building relationships and working with one another. So there's benefit there. At the same time, I do appreciate the value in a fresh perspective. That said, I have been the school liaison until last meeting when I took over as chair. So, we certainly are seeing turnover within the liaison assignments. And I think that that's probably why it's not been an issue that's come up before. I don't think we've really had anybody who's sort of always been a particular chair. But the reality is sort of the precedent within the group is that we all volunteer for the things that are most interesting to us. We sort of divide them up. I will say historically the schools has been like our vice chair. It is the most work for any of the committees and sort of the most interaction with that committee, which is why it's typically the vice chair and a newer member. Don't worry, Josh, I'm not trying to volunteer you for schools. But I think, that's sort of the norm. I jumped in when in theory it would have been Jean last time because I had kids in school and an interest in participating.
Well, Michael Beretti is the one who, when he was chair, he was trying to push the idea that because that is such an important thing that it should be the chair or vice chair to be the second person. Yeah. But at the time, others were, I thought, doing a fine job or something, so I didn't do it as his vice chair, and as chair, then you had the interest and the motivation. So I think generally it's, the only ones maybe where you might have an influence is capital expenditures, or as a member of an actual building committee, maybe because you're actually voting. All these other roles are really you're an objective observer and reporting back what you hear. You're not really you don't shape the IT department because you're the liaison. So and generally we've had a huge amount of turnover, at least on this committee, if you think about it now, and we're about to have another person leave, right? So that I think the roles have moved around. So maybe as a new person, you may have to wait a few years to get your shot at this one or that one. But I don't think in general anybody's ever not that's here for a few years didn't get a chance to do something or another. So I didn't. One of the nice things for the town employees is some amount of stability in the liaison. If Jean was doing police and fire for a year or two, then they have the contacts and they know who to call.
So I thought that, again, my first time through, but I thought the timing of this was excellent, before getting into the heavy budgeting cycle. So maybe once a year, this is something we kind of reevaluate and figure out,
We do generally once a year, at least go through these, mainly because after town meeting, we tend to have a member or two, or the chairs change, and there's a lot of assigned positions to the chair, which makes sense. They're going to be on the finance team, et cetera.
So it's a good balance between fluidity, but also stability, and as you say, relationship building with who you're working with.
Yeah, the reality is this time of year we always do it. In theory it would be a little bit earlier, but I think it takes this long for us to really get what the next year's committee is going to look like, right? There's people that exit, and John
we had a
is still
space before
placing.
we knew who was on the committee, right?
Right.
We wanted them to join first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would always be good.
So I'm confident we'll do, if not sooner because of changes in the committee, we'll do the same process again next summer.
Okay.
And to a large extent, I mean, I applaud you for jumping in with both feet, ankles, and head. But to a large extent in the past, when you got 1 or 2 new members, they tended to almost do no liaison work in their first year because there's...
Why didn't anybody tell me that?
Well,
Yeah,
we
hello.
fool some of the people. We've had a lot of new people. But the idea being that you have a lot to learn as a new member of the Finance Committee about the whole process and about the whole budget and about, there's so much where Beth and Andrew have been here, I don't know, have more than 8 years or something. They know all that background, so that part's not new or, easier, I would say. So that also has been tended to be one of the trends that people took on heavier lifting liaison roles as they were more comfortable. Because we don't want to scare people off
Right,
with the
so-
amount of work.
Right, so then again, school committee the budget's the same as the rest of the town budget. So, I'd be new, Beth has been on that for a while.
Yeah.
So I expect like she'd be, providing a lot more guidance.
Yeah.
Right, hand-holding until I get up to speed.
Well, and the reality is, I can tell you from experience, is that you will schedule meetings with the school's finance director and superintendent, and they'll walk you through their budget process, right? So it's really just, they'll walk you through their budget. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions. I found that the biggest difference in the 2 years that I worked with them was really asking questions about how the data was presented, right? Again, we don't have any control over what's in but you can ask questions about how they show the data. And if you look the last couple of years, I made eye contact with Mr. Savoy, who certainly wants more data from the school budget, but we've really pushed for providing more of that data.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's probably something you'll continue to hear from residents, is they would like to see more data within how
Sure.
that's presented. But the reality is, right, we're not having input on what goes into their budget. We're asking questions about it. I mean, obviously last year we went through a whole process where we asked for budget reductions and went through that whole process with the schools. But even identifying those items, that's up to the school, and they have a whole finance team of their own that's preparing that information.
Yep, and the school committee is the one that reviews and
Correct.
approves. Yep. So that's a storage, she expressed interest in the school committee as well, so.
Well, that's right. I mean, again, I prepared all of this with a little bit of hesitation because I don't want to be the person that tells everyone what they're going to do, but I also wasn't going to take a position from someone who had already sort of volunteered for that role, so.
Yep.
But it looks like Beth still hasn't been able to get in, so.
Yeah, I was just going to say that if there's an opportunity to be involved, depending upon each individual's interest in a variety of roles across, the years, I think that that's reasonable. And that's why, I was talking about, if there's like term, if like there's some formal policy around involvement in the term, but I definitely understand the need to also not have like churn and, have a little more continuity and stability. But I think that, iterating over what that trade-off looks like, if it's a year's involvement, that probably brings with it the stability. And it sounds like because there's due consideration given on an annual basis, so maybe that goal is being met as it is implicitly. So that's, that might be just fine. And anyway, Jane, that's where those initial comments that I made were coming from, just to ensure that there's an opportunity to be involved, across time in the different engagements as they present themselves.
I would say we, in the past, seemingly had the opposite problem of there would be an opening on when someone left and getting somebody to sign up to be on.
I mean, that is actually
liaison.
wI defaulted
Yeah.
someone to every position, so we didn't all just look at each other and say,
Yeah.
I don't know, are you guys gonna
Yeah.
do it?
Yep.
Understood.
I mean, but for instance, for me, everything's new this year except for still being on the library. So there is changes
That's good, keeps it
because
fresh.
I'm not the chair now, so
Everything's new
I
for me
switched,
too.
and it's all new for you and for Josh, I think. Yeah.
Correct.
So I will have to say that Walter took the words out of my mouth in terms of, like, it's really refreshing to see that we may have people who want to work more committees than we actually have committees. So, Surajit, I applaud that. What for capital expenditure planning, because I heard you say you were interested in that one.
Yep.
Why don't I have a conversation with Kim, who's responsible, or Kim or Christy is responsible for getting the appointment. Maybe if you'd like, you can shadow join as a sort of second, a sidecar member to join, so that you can just see what it's like. It's not many meetings, but it's an intense series of meetings, like in a flurry at the end of November. And I don't know why it wouldn't be an okay idea to have you join as sort of like the non-voting member at this time.
Yeah, I think that would be very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll reach out to Kim. I don't know what the protocol is, but I'll have to hear what she has to say.
Okay.
My recollection is sort of like 3 meetings, almost 3 weeks in a row in November-ish.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
Correct, with a couple of other follow-up meetings after that. The 3 gets us to the original recommendation. Then as we get closer to the different town hall meetings, then we will potentially meet again to talk about whether there's changes in the plan. So yeah, but you're right.
Okay.
All right. Any liaison reports?
I have one.
I figured you might.
Figured I might. So there's a liaison report from the July 29th library meeting. Our next meeting is actually Tuesday of next week, so we're just a little out of sync with the meeting, so apologize that this is a little bit old, but the new thing with our meeting, because construction is underway, that we kind of take a 3-week look ahead at the meeting. And so some of this stuff that was going to happen was the fence. Well, the fence was just put up. Selective demos going on, the ceilings, the wallpaper. Masonry pointing has started. The HVAC is coming apart. The abatement work, which means mainly asbestos and other things that you want to get out of the building, which includes air monitoring. And they mentioned that the project sign would go up, which it did out front, telling people a little bit about what's going on. There are 3, 4 interesting things. On the good news side, the air monitoring contract with UEC Environmental actually came in at $16,000 on a budget of $75,000 due to there's less to abate, and they got a really good price. So that's a good thing. So we're ahead on that one. Another thing we're ahead on is the National Grid Agreement. There's a back charge. This has to do with bringing in the new higher electricity into the building, and that was $27,000 on a $100,000 budget, and that includes that's the installation of the new transformer and service. So both those are going in the right direction of spending less money. We'll start getting monthly reports from them, and the neat thing that happened was a discovery of a hidden skylight in the old building, which isn't it's a skylight. It was above the drop ceiling, but it doesn't go all the way. You can't see because there's a roof above it that's filled in. But it's a really neat wooden thing, and they're looking into possibly backlighting it with like LED as a way of having lighting. It can help light the room, but it's a beautiful kind of piece, and so they're going to see, the cost involved in that, which didn't seem like it would be that much, but it was kind of a neat find anyway. It was in the 1908 building. And they can work it into the plan. They showed us some pictures, which I can't show you right now, but of how it could work in, which was kind of neat. And we don't have to worry about it leaking because it's inside. It's a be a fake
It's not an
skylight, but it
actual-
could, yeah,
That's
but
what
it can light
It's a
up.
fake skylight. We're lighting up a
Right.
tube to nowhere.
So we should learn more. We'll start getting more monthly reports and things like that. But the project's ongoing and seems to be going good so far.
When's the estimated completion date?
I think about a year from now. It was going to be somewhere between now and later in the fall of next year,
Okay.
if I remember properly. So that's that report. Depending when we have our next meeting, I'll have a report from Tuesday's meeting. Oh, there's Beth.
Hi, Beth.
Hi.
Okay.
All right. I have a couple from Finance Committee. I did send out the benchmark communities report that was prepared. I would like to, at one of our future meetings, have a conversation about that and talk through sort of the methodology and the communities and sort of how we anticipate using that going forward. I just
Can
sent it
I
out.
put in
Yeah.
a request?
Sure.
Like for at least for a year, I'd kind of like to know how it compared to the old community. Like I'd like the data for the old communities as well, because I feel like it's an abrupt switch to this new, and that'll give me a sense of actual changes, if that makes sense.
Yep. So if you, I
There's
believe.
very,
Yeah, so if you look at Appendix B, the scoring sheet, it includes both it is how we ranked them, and all of the old communities are in there, so you could look and see where they fall sort of in this ranking.
right, but what I'm thinking is that without the data on the old communities going forward a little bit, we're not going to see how this changes our opinions of things.
Did you really? Sorry.
So I do know.
I looked at the detail in a lot.
So I do know that Christy, we had discussed, and Christy had mentioned sort of as we're presenting this data for this next budget year, we'll look at sort of if we'd been using this last year, this is what it would have looked like, right? So that we can get a sense. Rather than just
Okay.
here was last year with the old set, here's next year with the new set, we'll look at with the new set what would have last year or this year looked like, just to have that parity.
Good myth.
Yeah, okay, because we need something to give it anchor.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that the idea is when we're showing sort of those trends, it won't be a switch in benchmark communities in 1 year. It'll be using these same benchmark communities for historical, is my understanding.
Okay.
Because, yeah, we'd brought up that same sort of, if we've been using one set, how does the new set compare? I do really like in this process, though, rather than just saying, here's your set, Merry Christmas, it's like, here's how we've scored them. And also, so here's the ones we picked, but this is what everything else looks like it. So if you are wondering, well, why aren't we comparing ourselves to Grafton? We can look and see, well, Grafton came in at 22 based on these particular scores, and that's why we felt we were different. And I like sort of the transparency in the scoring of them.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the last process was, very somewhat strange, but it was the first attempt at it.
Right.
So, but I think this time it was done much more in a way that you could follow it and make decisions in future years, whether you wanted to weight things more importantly or not, or.
well,
yeah,
and then
I
the
mean,
whatever weights you put into it are visible, right? So
Right.
not only can you
Yeah.
change it, but you can see what we changed, and I could reproduce. If I said, well, that doesn't make sense because I disagree, at least I have the data in front of me.
Right.
Yeah.
And since you have that chart, individuals that are that into it can go look at other comparative towns if they want from that list.
Yeah.
So has the school committee reviewed this list yet?
Yes.
For feedback?
Yeah.
Well, there's school committee chair and the school committee director are on the committee.
Oh, okay,
On the
excellent.
finance team and the finance director from the schools.
Yeah, so the finance team includes the school committee chair, superintendent, finance director, as well as town manager, assistant town manager, select board chair, myself.
So you
and
all
some
Some of
I'm
the
worked,
missing-
finance
And some of the
people.
finance
Yeah.
people.
yeah, so you all worked collectively, and then this is the end product of that
Correct.
process.
Yep.
Great.
So I suspect it'll be presented at a school committee meeting at some point, more formally,
I
right?
assume
Yeah.
so. I haven't watched the
Right, yeah.
meetings lately to know. So Christy had asked that we present it. I think that once everybody's had a time sort of to look at it, we can have another conversation if we'd like. I think she's more than happy to come and speak to it if we would like.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, because it's really, you know, I could understand the factors, the weighting, maybe, you know, I didn't quite understand how they were
I can also
weighted
send you the
differently.
spreadsheet. I have the spreadsheet too
Oh,
that
do
shows
you?
the actual calculations that go into, because I'm that person that immediately wants to like,
Yeah, I know.
want to
so-
see how you did it,
I
not
know, the
just what you're
PDF. Yeah, exactly.
I can send you the spreadsheet. I tried to resist the urge to send everyone all my nerdy spreadsheets because I assume you don't all want all the spreadsheets that I want.
But it's great transparency.
It is.
Yeah, and that's something I think is, you know, taxpayer, you know, you look for, because, you know, we put the comparative towns out there, but then you don't know why, right? And then you kind of question, well, why wasn't Southborough on the list?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
We also talked about, so the budget summit, the current plan is September 29th. We'll start at 6:30. The school's had a couple so we're gonna start at 6:30. I assume that means till 9:30, based on sort of our normal, it's 3-hour long meeting. That is, I believe, one of our meeting nights though.
Do we have a calendar?
So we typically meet Mondays and Thursdays. We don't actually have a calendar. It's more of it's assumed we're meeting every Monday and Thursday, and then we cancel meetings when we're not going to have them. I actually printed out my little blank calendar so we could start talking about what the next meetings we want to have, because I don't think we're at the point now we're gonna do bi-weekly meetings through the fall. So I wanted to sort of chat tonight about what meetings we want to have.
Okay.
Once we get closer to town meeting, we'll do the every other week. And then it largely runs right up until spring at that point.
Okay.
So. The one other thing, so I know that we wanted to have a conversation prior to the budget summit. Christy had asked she would like to come and give us sort of a little bit of a presentation and talk through sort of historical budget changes and do some sort of level setting in terms of where we're at in terms of budget, which I thought made sense. Knowing that we're likely to go into the budget summit with some opinions on what we would like to see. So I was hoping to, for our next meeting, probably schedule Christy to be here. We can decide if we wanted to talk about the benchmarks as well as budget, or how we feel about the benchmarks if we think there are questions there. I don't know if you guys all have opinions on one or both, or. All right.
I just had one question I had would be, can we get from John the wrap-up of fiscal 25?
Alas.
Because that
Yep.
always generates a lot of, it's
The
a
actual
lot of
versus what
information.
happened, yeah, the final actual.
Yes, and it is now the end of August, or close to the end
I
of
mean,
August.
to be fair, I'm just finishing my
Yeah, no, I
financials, and we
expect it
closed
takes,
a
I
month
mean,
earlier,
they
so-
probably don't close, I mean,
Yeah.
it's getting close though to the
Yeah,
time where
they
he could
certainly he should be
provide
able to
it.
give us a report, so I'll email John and ask.
Yeah, we did talk about that last time, getting that before we start the budget process.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. So have Christy in to talk about kind of a intro into the
Yeah.
budget, next year budgeting, which makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
And maybe she could just give us a quick summary on the comparatives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Before we talk about next meetings, did we have any other liaison updates?
There was something else I wanted to talk a little bit about, which we can talk at a future meeting, but this whole, there's an article on the warrant to, require more signatures, and there's gonna be a meeting in September. And I just wanted to philosophize that, I think our role, ahead of town meeting is, we have to decide, are we supportive of it being on the warrant or not? We shouldn't really, as a committee that will review the article when it's finalized and on the thing, probably have a fixed opinion in favor or against at this point. Would be my opinion, that we sort of should be, at this point, can't speak for the committee, but for me, I would want to encourage them to put that on the warrant, and that maybe we have an opinion as groups, so maybe we can talk about it next meeting. They've gone back and forth about how many signatures should be. So we could have, I think, we have to decide as a committee, are we going to have an opinion on that? And then I would just think that completely in favor or not should probably wait till the election or the town meeting. But I'm interested in other people's opinions. But
Is that something we would typically have an opinion on, since there's really no financial
We
implications?
typically recommend
we're
for or against everything on the warrant.
Yeah, we're the
Regardless of
advisory
financial.
committee.
Yeah.
You have to realize we're not just
That's true.
finance.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
and we have to deal with citizen petitions, and some of them
Yeah. Yeah, good
less
point,
merit
valid
than
point,
others,
yeah.
to be polite. So I think we would have an opinion because it affects
Yeah.
us
I
as
mean, I think it's
volunteers
reasonable for us to
directly.
have an opinion
Yeah.
too, as,
Oh, I have an opinion.
And I'm sure we'll
Oh, I
get
mean,
to
I
express
think-
it.
sorry, Beth?
Well, I was having a hard time understanding quite whether Walter was saying we should or should not have an opinion. But, I mean, we should definitely be considering this with financial implications and implications to what it means to the legislative process, the way we consider any warrant article.
What I was saying, Beth, is it's not a warrant article yet. There's a meeting in September to discuss it and
Okay.
get public input.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a nuance to me, to us saying, we're completely in favor of this article before it even has been launched.
Correct.
Versus saying,
Okay.
we think it should go on the warrant, and we think that, the right number is 100 signatures or 50
Right.
signatures or something. I'm just thinking that our time to say we're in favor or against the article will come when the warrant closes, or
When
we
it's
take
an
a
article.
vote, not necessarily at that public meeting, because it's other
Right, no,
people's
I mean, I
chance to
understand that-
opine.
Right, I mean, I think people should feel free to go to the public meeting as private citizens, but when it comes before us as a warrant article, we should definitely take a position.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm just saying, is there's a difference
Yes.
between prejudging and then
Yeah.
we're hearing if there's people against it or for it. We should hear both sides and then vote,
Right, I mean, obviously, that's part of the gathering information process.
Yeah. But I think we can be supportive of the idea of putting it on the ballot, because that gives us a chance to
Correct.
vote on it.
Okay,
Yeah, that was my twisted thought.
okay.
All right, if we don't have any other liaison reports, we do have, so Christy wanted to come and talk to us. We had indicated we wanted to have a conversation really about sort of the budget process prior to the budget summit. The budget summit now is September 29th tentatively, which gives us 4 weeks, 5 weeks. I can't imagine that we need 10 meetings for that conversation.
Yeah.
I selfishly would prefer to not meet next week.
Yeah, well, we can't meet Monday next week because it's too late to post, but we can meet. The only meeting you could have is August 28th, which you can skip, obviously, or the next one would be September 4th, Thursday, because of the Monday holiday,
Oh, Labor Day.
Labor Day, which is fine. So we could just pick our next meeting that Thursday, but you will have to start picking. If you want to meet Monday, you can't wait till the Thursday
Right.
meeting to pick them. So we maybe want to pick a few dates, or
Yep.
that's my suggestion, so that you can get the postings done. And also, whether we want to then in mid-September have some of there's already some article proponents because version 1 of the thing is, so
Would you probably want to?
now that I'm the official, well, we didn't actually vote, but in theory, I'm the official liaison
I
to the
forgot about that whole
Affordable
voting
Housing
thing.
Trust. I could contact them and see when they can come in September or something, if later in September. I was
Okay, first, let's take a step back to the liaisons, because you're right, I totally skipped the part where we actually vote on them. And maybe we should,
accept them
I
as a
assume you
group.
guys are comfortable voting the whole list of
That's
them.
the only thing we've ever done. I don't know. It seems way too much work with roll call votes to do.
Please.
I guess I'll take a shot at a motion. I move that the committee accepts, for now, the Advisory Finance Committee liaison and committee assignments as sent out by the chair this week as suggested liaison list. I forget, I can't quite read the date. 08/17/25.
Bradley, second.
All right. Beth, I think you're first.
Oh, Blumberg, yes.
Bradley, yes.
Brant, yes.
Clap yes.
Is it Hansoge? If it's Hansoge,
Yeah,
Hansoge,
yeah.
yes.
Leslie, yes.
O'Day, yes.
All right, perfect.
We got 7
All
of
right.
us now, right?
Yep.
All right, so now that I'm the official
So now that
liaison to the Affordable Housing Trust, for instance, I could reach out to them and try
Yeah.
and set up something if you'd like. Or do you want to wait till the next meeting to do that?
So I don't see any reason not to reach out to them. Are there any others that we obviously want to hear from? I can't remember off the top of my head what.
Well, we'll obviously hear from the town manager at some point on all these select board ones.
Yeah.
There are 2 school department ones, but you might, again,
we
probably
probably wanna
closer
wait
to
on
the
that,
end of
yeah.
September when you have a chance to meet with them.
Yeah, we have a meeting with them on September 18th.
And then some of them were sort of placeholders, so it doesn't make sense to bring in yet.
Right, there's a zoning one, which is gonna be too early to,
There
Bring
is
in.
the senior transportation one, but that is select board,
that's
so.
really Christie.
Yeah,
She spoke to it at the select board
Right.
meeting, but, so I think, yeah, we'll have to
the
figure out when's
transfer.
good for her to come in and talk about that. Yeah, there's 3 affordable housing trusts, and then,
Yeah. So I would say at this point, I can talk to Christy about coming in and talking budget and benchmarks. We can reach out to the Affordable Housing Trust. I don't see, unless they want to wait. I
I'll
don't see
find
any
out.
reason
I'll
not to
make
coordinate with
contact,
them.
yeah.
Do we want to try and meet next Thursday, or are we comfortable waiting till the first week of September?
September.
September 4th, I'm comfortable. I think we won't, yeah, it's fall town meeting, it's not, you know, it's, there are 14 warrant articles now. Last year that started at the same number and went up to 19
Right.
by the time we're done, but it's not the about 60 things we have to do in the spring, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so then
all
Thursday,
the budget.
September 4th is the next meeting. Cover those 2 topics.
So we'll reach out and see, because if Affordable Housing Trust can't come in on the 4th or Christie can't, we'll shift things around, but I think
Yeah.
it's probable that at least one of them will be available then.
And then if not, then would it revert back to like Monday, September 8th?
So that's what I was just gonna ask I'm in favor of having stuff on our calendar in advance too. I don't wanna wait till the 4th and try and schedule. What I'm trying to reason through is, do we think we wanna just plan on the bi-weekly meeting starting at that point and then cancel?
I think for the month of September, that makes sense, because what happens in October is the select board will probably close the warrant, I'm gonna guess, on the 23rd or possibly the
assume so.
30th. We have the tri-board meeting on September 29th,
Yeah.
right? So that's gone. And then really, we have to approve the R&R by Thursday, October 9th meeting. Because the Monday meeting is a holiday and the following Tuesday is a week later is town meeting, so you need time for printing.
So then would
So
you,
really only 3 meetings in October, and that's gotta be either finalizing voting, any new articles, or working on the R&R.
I guess
So-
it's a total of 10
Yeah.
possible meetings starting September 4th. So yeah.
Yeah, and I
think
suspect
that's-
you'll be able to cancel 1 or,
Right.
two of
But I would
those,
hate to
Mondays
cut
or
it down to
Thursdays.
less than 10 and just.
but it would be
assume
good if
we're
we
gonna get
booked
it
the
done.
room too, for
Right.
those.
Yep.
so then
Okay.
would you do in September the 4th and then the Monday the 15th?
The 4th, the 8th, the 11th, 15th, 18th, 22nd, 25th, 29th.
22nd
Oh, so you're
on a
doing Monday,
holiday.
Thursday?
Oh, 22nd's a holiday?
It's Rosh Hashanah,
Oh, so
So-
not the 22nd.
yeah.
Yeah, it's twice a week.
But
I didn't know that.
like she said, we probably won't need all of them.
Right.
But it's hard, because what happens is when you approach somebody, can they come
Mhm.
and talk to us, Affordable Housing Trust, so they can come Thursday, but they can't come Monday, or vice versa, so maybe you don't have the other meeting
Right.
with these. But it's nice to at least reserve the room, and, if people can't make the meeting, they can't make the meeting, but it.
So Jane, I assume you'll just send off the list of meetings?
Sure.
So I'm confused.
And just assume you're meeting Mondays and Thursdays at 7 PM unless it's canceled.
Until town meeting.
Until actually,
Until town meeting.
a week before, until the October 9th. Because after that,
It's too late. Too late.
it's too late, so.
Okay.
So yeah, it's sort of like,
That's helpful, Beth.
it's a 6-week sprint, and then we get a pretty good break until, well, then we have budget stuff, but the real budget
He's
doesn't
lying,
come out
there's
till
not a
January.
break. Then we have a little bit of a break and then it's into budget.
Then it's crazy. We had the summer break.
The summer break is lovely. Wish it wasn't over.
It was a good break.
Okay. That's all I got.
Sounds
I can't
good.
make motions, guys.
Yeah, oh.
Do you want motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
So moved.
I'll assume that was your second, Beth.
Bradley second.
Okay, thanks, Brad.
Okay.
Or Andrew.
Blumberg, yes. Sorry
Bradley,
about
yes.
being late.
Brant, yes.
Clap, yes.
Hanzarka, yes.
Leslie, yes.
OJ, yes.
All right.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Westborough
Josh,
TV.
thank you for sending me the link.
Thanks all.